Welcome. Thanks very much for joining us today for our joint degree MPH MBA dual degree program at the Yale School of Management in conjunction with the Yale School of Public Health. We're going to spend a little bit of time introducing ourselves, talking a little bit about the program today, and I'm fortunate enough to be joined by three of our current students, Ben Engler and Melanie Taub, who are in the accelerated 2-year program, and Emily Lind, who is a graduating student in the 3-year program, to give you their perspectives on what we have on offer here. We will have more than enough time to take your questions, so please send them in, and we'll be trying to address them later on. For the moment, let me just tell you a little about the program and myself, and then I'm going to let our students tell you a little bit about themselves. I'm Howie Foreman. I'm a practicing radiologist at Yale New Haven Hospital. I've been involved in healthcare leadership and management for my entire career, and continue to be involved both at the departmental level as well as the director of clinical leadership development for the Yale New Haven Health System. We have had a joint degree program at Yale School of Management for really decades now. But our dual accelerated program has only existed for the last 6 or 7 years. And we're very proud of that program and the students that have come through it. But it is important to also recognize that when you apply to a dual degree program at Yale, you're applying to both programs, and it is ultimately your choice which track to take. We have had many students that have gone through the 3-year program, as Emily has. We have had some students make that decision early on. Some students make that later on. It becomes your choice. We will accept you into 2 different programs, presumably, and so you'll be applying to 2 different schools and going through 2 different application processes. The richness of the program derives from the fact that we have a School of Management and a School of Public Health that are, about 16 minutes apart from one another on foot and about 5 minutes apart by car or bicycle, and that is a unique feature of a joint degree program. You'll find that there are relatively few schools that can offer that intimacy that we have here. Both schools also encourage coursework in other graduate schools at Yale, which means that many, if not most, of our students will find themselves taking a school in one of the other course in one of the other schools, including the Yale Law School, which is a frequent place that students will take a health law class or related course. But students have been known to take classes in our forestry schools, in our graduate school of arts and sciences, and even in our drama school, and so on. So we have a lot of opportunities for people to partake of all that Yale offers, which is what makes Yale so unique in having a single campus for all of these schools. The program is structured so that you typically will spend the first year in the school. If you're in the 3-year program, the first year in the School of Public Health, and you'll spend the first summer in the School of Public Health if you're in the dual accelerated program, and then you'll spend the first full year of the dual accelerated program at the School of Management, and the final year split between the School of Public Health and the School of Management, as Emily is doing now, and as Melanie and Ben will be doing next year. This is as good a time as any to let each of them tell you a little about themselves. I'm going to start off with Emily, since she's in her final year and can tell you a little more about what it's been like to be in both schools full time and to feel fully immersed in both cultures, and perhaps even what it's like to be immersed in that during a pandemic. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Emily, and let you say a few words.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I, as Howie said, I'm doing the 3-year program. So I started at School of Public Health and then applied to the MBA program and did my second year at the business school. Before coming to Yale, I worked at Massachusetts General Hospital, and so I'm really focused more on the provider side. And so I've had a really interesting time at Yale exploring different things. I had an internship at Yale during the year. I had an internship at Planned Parenthood of New York City after my first year. And then, as Howie mentioned, things changed a lot in the pandemic. So this past summer, I was working for a startup called Get Us PPE. And so having all those different experiences and all the coursework that I've done at Yale is really helpful in me thinking about where my next steps are.
Great. I'm going to come back to all of you in a little bit to talk more about things like clubs, about extracurricular activities, and about the network. So I'm going to have that planted right now. But right now, I'm going to let Melanie talk a little about what her experience has been like joining us during a pandemic.
Yeah. So I think, as Howie mentioned, I am starting in the I just started in the 2-year accelerated program. My background is in healthcare consulting, and then most recently, before starting in the dual degree, I was in operations at a telehealth company. So it's been, even though I guess we've only been in classes a month, it's been really quick. Here at SOM, we've been really engaged in so many different things already. Ben and I started classes over the summer through the School of Public Health, so we got exposed to the variety of classmates there, and then starting our core curriculum at SOM this past month or so. So already it's I know we'll talk about extracurriculars later, but really exciting start to the year.
Great, thank you. And Ben.
Great, thanks, Howie. Great to be with you all today. I'm Ben Engler. I am also a first year in the 2-year accelerated program with Melanie. And prior to starting this program, I was working at Deloitte Consulting, primarily as a healthcare consultant for several years. And as Melanie said, we started this summer in the public health school, did 6 weeks of online courses and got to develop, strong network with that community over the summer. And now we're about a month into our core curriculum with the broader SOM community. So we are in a virtual model. So we go in person 2 days a week and online 2 days a week, which has been great to meet people in person. Melanie and I hadn't met in person for several months. So it was great to meet her and the rest of the cohort. It's been great so far.
Great. So let me start off, and again, I'm going to start with Emily this time, asking you about, because you've been very involved in a lot of things. You've also been my teaching fellow a number of times. So, and you and I have gotten to know each other very well, but I'd love to hear your perspective on, co-curricular, extracurricular activities, and then how you have accessed the network and what that has meant to you.
Yeah, so I've been involved in a lot of different co-curricular activities. So as I mentioned, I did an internship during the semester at Yale as part of the practicum program at the School of Public Health. I've also done the student consulting club at the School of Public Health, working with a behavioral health clinic in Connecticut. And then I'm currently a nonprofit board fellow. So I'm a member of the board of a local homeless shelter in New Haven. And so that's been a really rewarding experience, seeing how they've navigated the challenges of COVID and being able to contribute there. And then also, as Howie mentioned, I've been the TF for his classes and another class at the School of Public Health. And so getting to know the professors that way and students in other years that way has been really nice. And then in terms of accessing the network, I feel like everybody that I've reached out to has been really helpful and really open to talking to me about their sort of more generally about their career path and what my goals are and how best to achieve them. And even people that aren't necessarily affiliated with the School of Public Health or the School of Management, but people from Yale undergrad or Yale Law School who have gone into health or healthcare management fields have also been really receptive, I've found.
Melanie, you've been here much shorter, so I'm not asking you about how much about the network, but you already are involved with Ben, and I'll let you speak for him in this case, in one activity at the hospital working with me. Can you tell us about that experience for you?
Sure. So I think, as Howie mentioned, we're working on a committee on wellness, engagement, and leadership development between the School Yale as well as Yale New Haven health system. And personally, my background is in payer provider, and I wanted to get further exposure to working at a larger health system. And it's been a really wonderful opportunity to learn about organizationally how the School of Medicine works with administrators. What does a residency program look like? And some of the questions we're working with as a group are kind of how do we develop leaders throughout this integrated health system? So it's been a really exciting, I think this may turn into a practicum for us, or this is a fairly large committee, and we're developing kind of long-term relationships with some administrators, and we're also partnering with some professors at the School of Management. So I'm really loving how integrated the approach is across all these different areas of Yale, and I'm definitely learning a ton.
And let me just say this, one of those professors is Amy Wisniewski, who runs many of our leadership programs in the School of Management. She has been involved in sort of healthcare, leadership development, organizational behavior for a good part of her career, although I wouldn't say that was central to her career until recently. But during the COVID outbreak, when Yale New Haven Hospital converted 25 of our floors to COVID-type floors, she not just rose to the occasion during what was otherwise her sabbatical, but basically joined with a group of us to consult on those floors with physicians and nurses. Things like that are just rare to find at another institution. I would challenge almost anyone to say, can you talk about a campus where the business school, the med school, and the hospital are collaborative, and the School of Public Health are collaboratively working together on a public health challenge? And I'll just add to that before I go to Ben. We are a relatively small university. Our impact on the COVID pandemic, our ability to have a positive impact, whether it's on developing ventilators, whether it's been involved in PPE procurement, whether it's been involved in modeling the outbreak, both here as well as nationally, we have had an enormously outsized influence on that. And again, it's because we draw from the talent of Ed Kaplan in the School of Management, and Amy Gluck, a healthcare law professor at the School of Law, and Greg Gonsalves, a former activist and now health policy professor in the School of Public Health. And I can go on and talk about the outsized influence that we've had. I've never been more proud of Yale than during this time, because it really has showed how people come together during really awe-inspiring challenges. So, and Ben, do you want to just say a few words about, since I didn't force Melanie to do this, why don't you tell us, what is it like looking for clubs, looking to join organizations at the beginning of a school year during a pandemic? Because obviously you're not having the same type of club fare that we might have had a year ago. Tell us a little about how that's been for you. I pray that nobody that's watching this webinar is going to have to go through what we're going through, but I think it speaks to the extreme measures that our school has taken to maintain normalcy during this time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was something I was worried about, but has been done really well, in my opinion. I think we had a virtual club fair our first week at SOM, where every club had open office hours and Q&As to kind of answer questions about what they did. And then, they all had kickoff sessions over a 2-week period, so you could join in and see which clubs you may be interested in, and, without making a firm commitment to anything. So, in that week I joined, probably 8 or 9 club Zooms to see which are the most, fitting for my career interests and personal and affinity group interests. A couple of clubs that I got involved in right off the bat were the Healthcare and Life Sciences Club, Out of Office, which is the LGBTQ affinity group at SOM, and the Technology Club. And all of them have been really engaging and supportive as we start our, networking and career outreach, but also just from a social perspective in terms of meeting other first years that have similar interests and meeting second years who have done things that are interesting to you. I think that's been a really great part of the community, is meeting second years who, did internships last summer that we may be interested in applying for, or, joined clubs or took classes that we're maybe interested in. It's a really great support network in terms of that as well.
Thank you. I have some like sort of pre-prepared questions that I can throw at you at some point, but we have so many questions from the audience that I'm going to start using those. For now, I may answer some of these, but I'll be obviously tossing them to you when that's appropriate. The first one, it's appropriate. And this is open for all three of you, but I'll for ease of doing this, I'm going to always now start with Emily, then go to Ben, then go to Melanie. So just keep that in mind. And you're allowed to say nothing to add. What are the things that you enjoy most from your classroom curriculum experience?
Yeah, I would say two things. One, I think the professors are amazing. And so, you know, really engaging lecturers, and also have a lot of interesting experience from, you know, elsewhere in the world. And so, you know, hearing them talk about their work in government or their work with as consulting with nonprofits in this, you know, or social sector is really interesting and adds a lot to the conversation in class. And then also the, you know, input of other students who have had really interesting experiences. And I would say that's something that has become, I think, more interesting in the online environment, because there's sort of an opportunity for conversations in the chat that maybe wouldn't have happened in a classroom experience where you have to raise your hand and the professor has to call on you. But if you just have like just a little, oh, I worked in this industry, and you can put it in the chat, and that's a really interesting way to learn about stuff too.
Ben?
Yeah, I agree with everything Emily said. I think the only thing I'll add is, you know, I was really impressed by our public health curriculum this summer. We took 3 classes in a pretty short period of time, and they were online, but the way that, you know, one class in particular that I really enjoyed was social justice and health equity. And in that class, the ability of the professor to really weave in what's happening in the world and have meaningful conversations around the COVID-19 pandemic and how, you know, how that plays out along, you know, racial lines, and learning from classmates that are doctors or, you know, worked in different areas of healthcare was really meaningful. And I think being able to dive right into those substantive conversations in class was really great. So, yeah.
Good. Melanie?
Yeah, I'll echo what Ben said, because I think what's been most impressive and to me is just kind of the diversity of experiences and backgrounds my classmates have, both across the School of Public Health and the School of Management. It was really exciting this summer to take classes with some students in the advanced professional MPH program. So some of these people have a variety of, you know, clinical backgrounds and other intersections of health that I had not previously worked with. So it was really fun to engage in conversations with them. And similarly at SOM, you know, just the other week in my econ class, we were talking about clean energy cases, and someone from the class was able to volunteer, you know, their background working at Tesla and how that had changed things. So being able to bring in that diverse experience has been really exciting for me.
I have a question here that I actually want to answer, but I'll choose not to since it's for you. What drew you to the joint degree program as opposed to just doing one degree and taking courses in the other school? And again, we'll start with Emily.
So I actually started at just the School of Public Health, just doing the MPH degree. And I guess the reason I chose Yale to do my MPH was the close connection with the School of Management. Instead of a School of Public Health trying to recreate their own management program, they actually worked with the School of Management. And so I guess I was always sort of focused in that direction. And then taking a couple classes at the School of Management, I realized that that is like really how the world works. And so I wanted the MBA degree in addition to the MPH degree, because I feel like they kind of bring different things. I sort of think about the MPH as like what I'm doing or why I care about healthcare, and the MBA degree as how that actually is accomplished in the world.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think for me, I had never, in undergrad, I studied business and political economy and had never taken a healthcare related class. So while I knew that I wanted to get my MBA, I definitely wanted to add on the MPH to get a more substantive understanding of the healthcare system and be sure that I was taking the integrated curriculum that combines, business and healthcare policy. And so for me, the ability to do that through this program, I think at other schools, I was a little bit more hesitant to do the dual degree because, the curriculum and the program itself aren't as integrated. It's kind of like figure it out on your own between the two schools. But at Yale, it makes it super easy because it's been done before by cohorts in the past to understand what classes you need to take and what the requirements are. So having the integrated approach was kind of the key for me.
Melanie?
Yeah, I approached it similar where I was kind of looking at different degrees to provide me different experiences. In the MPH degree, I was really hoping to kind of get that overall healthcare system approach and elaborate that because I was not able to kind of study that in my undergraduate career. And then looking at the MBA to help focus my business toolkit and take some of my core classes and in accounting and finance and things like that to help solidify those understandings. So kind of looking at those degrees to help put this bigger picture together, and similar to what Emily and Ben were saying, the intersection of topics is really appealing and has been wonderful at Yale.
I also will say, and this is again my bias, but my sense about this, both from the business school as well as the School of Public Health perspective, is you don't know what you don't know. There's a reason why institutions form a curriculum for you. It's not to be paternalistic, but if you asked me when I was a young resident and applying to business school what classes I needed in business school to be successful in my career, I would have told you cost accounting and accounting, and that would have been it probably. I probably had no conception of just how much competitive strategy, negotiations, organizational behavior would impact and influence my ability to be a better leader and manager. It is so easy to imagine saying, why don't students at the School of Management just take a few classes at the School of Public Health and then they're a public health professional? But we've had a lot of MBA students who are always, more than welcome to take classes at the School of Public Health. School of Management students who are welcome to take classes at the School of Public Health, and they don't. They choose a class that they think is important, but they don't even realize how important another class is. And by the way, basic epidemiology is not something that most people think they need to get out of a School of Public Health until you're in the midst of the pandemic and you realize how critical it is. So just want to add that because you can't really shut me up since I'm leading this whole thing right now. Question directly for Emily now, only Emily. How does the nonprofit board fellows program match fellows with organizations?
Yeah, so they have longstanding relationships with maybe 12 to 15 organizations in the area. And so you apply to the program, and then after in the fall of your first semester, and then after a few months of sort of curriculum on nonprofits and how the role of the board, then you look through the list of partners and talk to the current board fellows, and then you rank your choices and are matched with someone based on your interests and experience.
Great. Can you discuss, and this really is primarily for Emily again, but can you discuss TA opportunities and how that might help with the cost of tuition?
Yeah, so in general, it's, I guess there's two ways. If it's a class that you have taken and you do well in it, sometimes the professor will reach out to you if you do really well, or if you're interested and you did well, you can reach out to the professor. And then for certain classes, particularly at the School of Management, where it's maybe it's like a second year elective where there's not really an opportunity for someone to have taken the class and then TA, you can apply based on past experience. And and then you get a stipend for it. And in my experience, it's been not a burdensome amount of work. And so, I mean, it's a job, but it's not burdensome, and it's, worth it.
Great. I'm going to start the answer to this question, but then I'll let all three of you answer it. How do I know if the 2 or 3 year program is for me? Could you offer some tips on how a candidate can make that decision? Let me just start off by saying you do not have to make that decision until basically May of the year that you're matriculating. So presuming that you're admitted to both schools, let's say in January or February, you have time to make that decision. You certainly don't have to make that decision before you apply. I personally am very biased about the fact that if you have the luxury of time, the 3 year program is the best. You get to immerse yourself in both schools. The disadvantage that Ben and Melanie will have is they will never feel completely immersed in the School of Public Health, where there is a cohort of 200 students that they entered with and that they at least got to know really well, the way Emily did. Emily has a large cohort of MPH students that she spent the whole year with before she went over to the MBA program. On the other hand, Ben and Melanie do have a cohort of, I guess, close to 30 students in the advanced practice program or advanced professional program of the School of Public Health. So they do have a cohort within the School of Public Health. It's just not the same immersive experience. But the advantage and the reason why we're not shorting them in any other way is they are involved in all the other activities. So to the extent that Ben and Melanie want to be involved in the healthcare conference with our first year students in the School of Public Health, or involved in our case competitions or anything else, they will get to know a large core of students, not to mention that we have about 80 to 100 people showing up to my colloquium every Thursday evening. So they get to know the much larger healthcare management community that is biased towards the School of Public Health to begin with. So that's what I think you should be thinking about when you make that decision. What I always tell people when I'm confronted with this, talking to someone who's already been admitted, I always say, talk to as many people as possible. And Emily's a good example of a 3 year person. Melanie and Ben obviously are good for 2 year people, but we've got at least 5 or 7 people who actively made the decision to do the 3 year program despite having the option of the 2 year program. And then we have like another 25 or 30 people who chose the 2 year program with those same options. So obviously, most people who apply before are weighted towards the 2 year program, but that's probably because they see the opportunity cost of their time as being very, very high. And Emily, I don't know if you want to add, but I do want to let all three of you answer that. You're muted. Yep.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add except just that I feel like I do have more time to explore different things and be more involved in different clubs than I would have if I was doing it in only 2 years.
Yeah, I think I would just echo that. It's if you have, a clear sense of where you want to be after the program, then having one internship in the summer may be enough to explore that and find an opportunity that could turn into a full-time position. If you want to use the program to explore various career interests and, a variety of areas in healthcare, then maybe the 3 years is beneficial because you have that additional summer and you have additional time, during the 3rd year to explore a lot of different areas and have in-semester internships. I think the 2 year program is, it's called accelerated for a reason. You're going to have to do a lot in a short period of time, but you do, from my perspective, just as Howie mentioned, the time value of doing it in 2 years was my primary reason for choosing that program.
Yeah, I definitely agreed with everything everyone said. I would just also note as well, because Ben and I are doing a 2 year dual degree accelerated program, our focus in our MPH will be healthcare management. So, that's something I felt comfortable with given my career interests, but an opportunity cost there is, there's a public policy and health policy area of interest, that you could focus in epidemiology, biostats. So, you forego that opportunity if that's, potentially your area of interest in your master's of public health, and could be something to consider as well.
I'm going to just read off a question, but we're really not in a great position to answer this here. But what scholarships, fellowships are available to students in the program? I'm going to defer that question, not put our own students on the spot, nor me. We have a great financial aid office in both the School of Management and in the School of Public Health. One thing that becomes obvious once you hear is that even though we're one university, we do function independently. And so you'll find that both career services in the School of Public Health are replicated in the School of Management and vice versa. And the same thing for financial aid. And they will do their best to put together a package that hopefully is attractive for you when you're coming here. Hold on. Okay, this is a good one. Change of pace. What are your favorite extracurricular activities here at Yale and in New Haven?
Is that to me again? So I guess I mentioned my more academic extracurricular activities in terms of more or less academic extracurricular activities. There's been like a group playing tennis on the weekends a lot, which is quite fun. I haven't been able to make the larger group tennis events, but there's always other people to play with, and it's a fun way to meet different people. And on a sort of similar note, there are a lot of sort of outdoor things you can do if you're from the the Rocky Mountain area or New Hampshire. It probably doesn't feel like hiking, but there are some nice like woods areas that I like to go to.
Yeah, similarly, I think, I moved to New Haven in August from New York, and being able to take advantage of all of the space and the great, outdoor activities has been really nice. I've also been playing tennis, and in addition to that, I've joined SOM United, which is the business school's soccer team. So we've been having small group practices. Normally we would be traveling to tournaments at other business schools and stuff like that. But that's been a really fun way to meet people and get outside and play soccer a little bit.
Yeah, similar to Emily and Ben, I think everyone's been taking advantage of the beautiful campus and, where we're located in New Haven. I know even my cohort at the business school, we have a whole channel of people that like to go hiking on the weekends in small groups. And I've been excited, socially to just get to know my larger cohort. We started a book club, so we're just kind of starting to kick that off. And it's been a great way also. There's a lot of connections between, my cohort of this year and then the second year cohort as well. So I had a buddy reach out to me for coffee. So it's been really nice to get to know people that way.
I'm just looking up right now to make sure I have it correct, but I will say my favorite activity at this time of the year typically is apple picking. So I'm just saying, have any of the three of you done that yet this year?
My learning team has an event planned for this Saturday, so I will be going next weekend.
Thank the good Lord. What
yes,
about
I
you?
have it.
Huh?
I have it scheduled after our first round of finals, so it'll be a good treat.
And have you done it, Emily?
Yeah, I went last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we have great orchards that you can pick your own the entire year round practically. I love doing the strawberry, blueberry, raspberry picking in May, June, July. But the apple picking is a very New England sort of Northeast thing to do. So for people that aren't from here, that's a very fun thing. That's this time of year, it's perfect. The weather is awesome and you get great apples. So I'm going to take a break from some of the questions and answer some of the Q&A questions that are in here. I'm going to try to answer those that I can. And I'm also just going to ask anybody to chime in at any time. So what are the tips to navigate the different nuances to the MBA and MPH application? I don't think there's a way to like answer that without telling you to just take each school completely independently. Treat them independently. If you're applying to a public health school, presumably you have a passion for public health, population health. And particularly in a pandemic, I think it's more obvious than ever that that's something that we're interested in. When you're applying to school of management, you're learning to become a manager and a leader. And I think that's something we do exceptionally well. And the school of management in particular is more unique in its effort to train people to serve business and society, not-for-profit, public sector, and so on. Since we're applying to the MBA program and the MPH program individually, is it important to explain the public health, healthcare interest in the MBA application and the business interest in the MPH application, or should we really focus on showcasing? So I think that that's, it's going to be individual for different people. I don't think you should be in any way trying to hide the fact that you're applying to both schools. So I think to the extent that you can talk about that you are looking forward to engaging with the School of Management to learn more about leadership and management, and vice versa with the School of Public Health to learn more about public health, I think that's fine, but stay targeted on the reason why you're applying to that school. In the theoretical case that you only receive one of the or only receive acceptance to one of the schools, will you be able to accept that offer if the original application was for the dual program? Absolutely. So our acceptance is to the school, not to the dual program. And in fact, we have several people every year who are accepted to the healthcare management program in the School of Public Health via the dual application. So they applied to the dual program. They may get rejected to the School of Management and they stick around. Some of them will reapply the following year, some of them don't. And conversely, there are people from the School of Management who really have not had any interest in healthcare in the past and aren't able to make a cogent argument for why healthcare is their approach. And so they'll come to the School of Management first, and then over time, they too might be able to apply. I don't know that we've had someone quite like that. We do have one student right now in the second year class who is coming from the MBA side. She had no interest in healthcare before she came here. In her first year at the School of Management, she had to, she decided she wanted to apply to the School of Public Health. This is like the rare time that I'm declining a phone call from Dr. Vivek Murthy, but I'm going to do that. So next question, what healthcare sectors do MBA MPH students typically go into their following degrees? So I'm going to answer that one also and let you chime in if you'd like to. Payer, provider, life sciences. There are about two big categories. I don't even know if they make up an absolute majority. I tend to say they make up 60%, but it probably varies. Consulting and healthcare administration, meaning hospital administration, that makes up about, I think, 50 to 60% each year. And the reason why I say it varies so much is that some of the consulting is really life sciences. And so it depends on how you count these things, but I say it's about 60%. And the rest is across a broad swath of pure life sciences, about payers. It's working for a not-for-profit NGO. It's working globally in healthcare and so on and so forth. So that's that. As a potential applicant who only has a science background academically and professionally and not much business background, how would you advise me to take on the joint degree application? So I'm going to tell you that that's me when I went to business school. I didn't go to Yale, I went to Penn, but that's business schools love getting people that have no business background. It's what makes the class richer. I imagine that Ben, Melanie, and Emily can tell you about classmates that have absolutely no business background. We have a large MD MBA cohort where the students have essentially no business background. The School of Management would not be a good place to go if there was nobody with any business background. But by having a substantial number of individuals that have come from the military or have come from sports or have come from the entertainment industry or the arts industry or education makes the school a better place. I'm going to finish these and then I'll let you chime in with any specific comments about the things I've talked about. Why should I consider, oh, this is a great one, I love this. Why should I consider Yale SOM MPH dual program over other schools with specific MBA training in healthcare management, e.g. Wharton's Healthcare MBA program? And as a graduate of Wharton's Healthcare MBA program, may I just say, It is a fantastic program. I love my time at Wharton, and I love the people I met at Wharton, and I have nothing bad to say about them, but you will not get a public health or a population health perspective there. You will get a healthcare management perspective. You will learn a lot about managing organizations, about life sciences. You will not get skills in public health and population health at all. And particularly, I would say now, as I am, I've been at Yale teaching population health, public health, and health policy for 22 years. I did a health policy fellowship in Washington in 2001, 2002. I am now, having spent the last 8 months deeply invested in the COVID pandemic and hopefully helping along that way, I recognize all the more why it is so valuable to have health policy credentials, to have public health and population health credentials. And I could not emphasize more why these two degrees mesh so well, and why Wharton's program will prepare you well to be a hospital administrator or to work in the life sciences industry. And if you want to work in a bank, you'll come out fine there. But if you really want to be a public health professional with leadership and management training, our program is the best in the country. I sincerely believe that. As an applicant who has a background in literature, anthropology, and research experience, how would you advise me to approach the dual degree? The same way I said before, I think those things bring interesting background to the table. I think you need to make a compelling case for why these programs are going to accelerate your role in society and put you in a better position to be the success and leader that you want to be. Let me open it up now to Ben, Melanie, and Emily to say a few words about any of that if you want to, starting again with Emily. And I'm going to go back to looking at what other questions have come in while we're doing that.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add to that. So.
Okay, I jotted down a couple of things. On the application side of things, I think one additional piece of advice would be to just, keep in mind that the applications are viewed separately by different admissions teams in the two schools. So to the question of how to talk about, your business interest on the public health side and your healthcare interest on the MBA side, my advice would be, don't feel the need to reinvent the wheel. Like you can, your story is your story across both if you're applying to the dual degree program. So not that you're submitting the same essay, but it's the same themes that you're talking about. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. One difference just logistically is you need a third letter of recommendation in the public health degree, which I wish I had looked at a little bit earlier, but just something to be aware of. And then in response to that last question on, the other healthcare management MBA programs, I think one thing about Yale that's really unique is the integration between, all of the different graduate programs. So like the ability to take classes at, the law school even, and have those relationships with people in other graduate programs isn't something that I found in other business schools. I found that they were very separate. So to Howie's point, if you're not sure exactly, that you want to do life sciences or that you want to do hospital administration and you want to explore other career interests within healthcare, I do think this program caters itself to do that a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll echo what Ben said on his latter point, because I think Yale and the graduate programs here are really well integrated in a larger university, and it creates a culture of really passionate people that want to hear diverse perspectives. For me, I was really, for me, my passion in healthcare is driven kind of from the interdisciplinary nature of it. And I think because these schools work so closely together, I've become good friends with a friend that's in the MD MBA program and learning about his perspective. I think that's a really unique characteristic of the dual degree here.
Great. Going to give you two last questions in a sort of rapid fire round here. Actually, I'm going to give you one last question. I'm going to answer the other one. The question is, what prior experience do you value the most? And they give us a lot of options. The answer is we value all experiences. There are people out there that have had personal life experiences due to illness, due to family illness, that have informed their passion and understanding of health in ways that a full-time job for 2 years can't. There are students out there that have been 10 years in a job and have no meaningful, understanding of the health system around them. Everybody's different. You should put your best self forward, and that's how we're going to value you, and that's what we do the best with. I'm going to give you guys the last question now, going around same order one more time. Could the panelists offer a word of advice to prospective applicants? What do you wish you had known when you were applying? I know Ben will tell us about that third letter of recommendation, but start with Emily, and you can think about it.
I guess two things. One, sort of like what Howie just said about talking about your experience. I would say like be authentic in who you are in the essay, and one, that makes it a lot easier to write, and two, if you're trying to like check a lot of different boxes and cover a whole range of things, the admissions committee won't have a good sense of who you are, and they want to know who you are and how you fit into the class. So be authentic with your personal statement. And then, what was the other thing? Oh, and the other thing I was going to say is be open to possibilities about and thinking. I guess to the earlier question about if you only get into one program, be open to thinking about how things could go differently, and you might find that is a good path for you, and just think creatively about that.
Ben.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that helped me in terms of deciding what programs I wanted to apply to and which I ended up attending is talking to as many students as possible. And I think given the environment we're in right now, not being able to visit physical campuses will make that even more important. Talking to students, not just about, I guess, what their experience is, but what types of careers come from certain programs, what the career opportunities are, in a healthcare management program versus a dual degree, and really deciding which one makes the most sense for you and your interests. So I know, every MBA program has some kind of alumni database that allows you to reach out to people that have been in those programs, and that is the most meaningful way that you're going to find out what they're really like.
Melanie.
Yeah, definitely agree with what Ben and Emily have said. I'd really encourage people, to dig deep and use this time through your applications as like a reflective process. Creating your story and creating these applications is very closely linked to when you get on campus and start your conversations with your classmates and start thinking about what you want to do throughout the year, throughout the summer, and after graduation. So I think something that maybe shouldn't have surprised me, but your story and those things start very quickly as soon as you start at school here, and figuring out what you're looking for. So talk to students, like Ben said, have conversations with people about what they're doing, and use that time to reflect and put together an authentic story.
Great. I want to first thank our 3 students for joining us today. They have enough going on in their lives that doing something like this is, really above and beyond the call of duty, and I truly appreciate it. I want to say, from my perspective, we've got 2 great schools here. We got 2 great schools that get along really well. I want to thank Maria, who's on the line with us and who set this up for us today, for always being sort of the coordinator between the 2 programs for the School of Management. And I know that Mary Keefe over at the School of Public Health would equally be helpful to either or any of you. Everybody's email addresses are basically firstname.lastname@yale.edu, including mine, if we can be of any help to you. I know that there are some questions that we did not get to during this webinar, but in the interest of time, I just want to make sure that we covered what we did cover. And we're here for you. We want to begin the conversation today. We're not looking to end it. Many of you are hopefully looking at us for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years from now. and we're happy to have those conversations with you beginning now and hopefully seeing you here at some time in the future and hopefully in person. So with that, thank you all once again for coming, and we look forward to seeing you virtually or in person sometime in the future. Take care.